All right, breaking overnight, in an unprecedented move, President Trump announced he is firing Fed Governor Lisa Cook over allegations of mortgage fraud. This is the first time a president has fired a Fed governor in the central bank's 111-year history. Cook has not been charged with any crime. This has huge implications in politics, law, and the economy.
This is absolutely devastating. Trump's legal defenses is collapsing. And I mean completely fell apart. Multiple court losses within days. Supreme Court signaling major defeats coming, federal judges blocking executive actions, constitutional violations documented, and the clock is ticking because tariff ruling could drop any moment, birthright citizenship case on the docket, Fed firing attempt rejected by justices. Every legal strategy Trump relied on is failing simultaneously. Every protection he thought he had is evaporating, and allies are panicking because they understand what's coming. Legal wall that shielded Trump from accountability for entire first year of second term is crumbling, and there's no escape. And here's what makes this catastrophic. These aren't minor setbacks. These are foundational defeats that destroy Trump's entire approach to presidential power. Supreme Court blocked National Guard deployments. Lower courts ruled clean energy grant cancellations unconstitutional. Federal judge protected peaceful protesters from immigration raids. Courts rejecting Trump's claims of unlimited executive authority. An historical pattern suggests this is just beginning, because Supreme Court always waits until president is weakened before delivering knockout blows, and Trump's approval is cratering. Midterms approaching, clock ticking toward multiple devastating rulings. Legal experts warning this is most precarious moment of Trump's presidency, and allies watching legal wall collapse have no idea how to stop it. But real quick, before we get into this, let's be honest, you can't really trust mainstream media anymore. That's why we built Patrick Smith Show to bring you real stories, real context, and no corporate spin. If you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. All right, let's get into what actually happened. Supreme Court delivered devastating blow to Trump in December when 6 justices voted to block his National Guard deployment to Chicago. Trump wanted to federalize Illinois Guard over governor's objection, claimed violence against DHS agents during immigration enforcement justified military action. Court said no, said government failed to identify source of authority allowing military to execute laws in Illinois. Cited Posse Comitatus Act restricting use of military forces within United States. That's conservative Supreme Court rejecting Trump's claim of emergency powers, setting precedent that will apply to other cases. Share this video with everyone you know because legal analysts immediately recognized what this means. Peterson Institute broke down how Illinois Guard ruling signals court will strike down Trump's tariffs. Both cases involve Trump invoking emergency authority Congress never intended for these purposes. Both represent massive federal overreach. Both rely on statutory language meant for actual emergencies. And court's narrow interpretation limiting presidential power in Guard case applies directly to tariff challenge. If court won't let Trump deploy troops on whim, they definitely won't let him impose global tariffs claiming trade emergency. Think about what that means. Trump's entire economic strategy depends on tariff authority, over $130 billion collected, leverage over foreign nations, ability to manipulate markets, all built on emergency powers. And Supreme Court is about to rule those tariffs unconstitutional. Could happen any day. Court delayed decision multiple times, but ruling is coming. And when it drops, Trump has to refund all tariffs collected. Markets will panic, economic chaos, political disaster. And Trump posted on Truth Social that if court rules against tariffs, quote, "we're screwed," unquote. His exact words, because he knows legal defeat is inevitable. Now let me walk you through the other walls collapsing simultaneously. Federal court ruled January 12th that Trump's Department of Energy violated Constitution when it canceled clean energy grants based on which states recipients lived in. Court found administration admitted making grant termination decisions primarily if not exclusively based on whether state voted for Trump in 2024. That's using federal funding to punish political opponents. That's unconstitutional equal protection violation, and court documented it, created precedent, showed Trump weaponizing government against states that opposed him. Make sure you're subscribed to Patrick Smith's show because Supreme Court heard arguments January 21st on Trump's attempt to fire Fed Governor Lisa Cook, and justices were brutal. Sharply questioned Trump's assertion of unchecked power to remove Fed member over mere allegation without hearing. Brett Kavanaugh, Trump's own appointee, warned allowing firing would shatter Fed independence. Chief Justice Roberts questioned whether one reference in mortgage paperwork justifies destroying institutional safeguards. 5 justices signaled they'll keep Cook in position. That's another major defeat, another limit on presidential power, another wall collapsing. And Minnesota federal judge issued preliminary injunction blocking federal agents from arresting peaceful protesters during immigration operations. Said agents cannot retaliate against protesters, cannot detain them without cause, cannot use pepper spray or non-lethal munitions. That's court protecting constitutional rights against Trump's enforcement tactics. That's judicial pushback against administration overreach. That's pattern of courts refusing to let Trump ignore law. Think about the broader pattern. Trump thought conservative Supreme Court would rubber stamp everything, thought 6 Republican appointees meant unlimited power, but court is pushing all major decisions into spring 2026, delaying tariff ruling, scheduling birthright citizenship arguments, hearing Fed firing case, and historical analysis shows this delay is strategic. Court waits until president is weakened politically before delivering defeats. Nixon got destroyed by court in final year. Bush lost major cases late in second term. Obama blocked on executive actions when lame duck. Pattern is consistent, and Trump is next. Share this with everyone because NBC News analysis is devastating. Says court avoided direct confrontations with Trump in 2025, but pushed rulings on contentious proposals into this year. That 3 major cases, tariffs, birthright citizenship, Fed firing, could all go against administration. That delay until Trump's approval drops makes defeats more likely. Legal experts saying kicking can down road is helpful to people hopeful court rules against Trump. That's Supreme Court positioning to deliver systematic rejection of Trump's constitutional violations. Notice what allies are doing. European leaders panicking over Greenland tariff threats. NATO members deploying troops to resist American coercion. 8 countries issuing joint statement defending sovereignty. Republicans in Congress trying to reassure allies Trump doesn't speak for them, because everyone recognizes legal walls are collapsing, courts pushing back, constitutional limits being enforced, and Trump has no strategy for dealing with it except posting angry messages on Truth Social. And mark my words, because Democracy Docket Analysis warned Trump facing most crucial legal challenges of second term in 2026, listed Supreme Court tariff case, Fed independence fight, birthright citizenship challenge, criminal contempt inquiry, DOJ revenge prosecutions getting blocked, courts defending institutional independence, pattern of judicial resistance emerging, and administration has no effective response because you cannot threaten Supreme Court, cannot override their rulings, cannot make constitutional violations legal. Make sure you hit that subscribe button because the clock is literally ticking. Tariff ruling could drop any Tuesday when court issues decisions. Each decision day brings possibility of devastating defeat. Each week that passes brings Trump closer to midterm elections, where legal losses will be most damaging politically. Each month that goes by increases likelihood court will rule against him on multiple cases simultaneously. That's why allies are panicking. They can see the timeline, can calculate when rulings will hit, can predict political consequences. Think about what happens when tariff ruling drops. If court strikes down tariffs as expected, Trump loses main tool for pressuring other countries, loses revenue from tariff collections, faces refund obligations that could exceed $100 billion. Markets react to uncertainty, inflation concerns spike, and political message that tariffs made America great gets destroyed because court says they were illegal. That narrative collapse alone could cost Republicans' House in midterms. Share this video with everyone you know because birthright citizenship case is equally catastrophic. Trump issued executive order trying to end automatic citizenship for children born to undocumented parents. Direct violation of 14th Amendment. Right guaranteed over century. Lower courts already blocked implementation. and Supreme Court expected to rule against Trump decisively, because overturning birthright citizenship requires ignoring clear constitutional text and 100+ years of precedent. Even conservative justices won't go that far, so Trump loses. Broken campaign promise, failed agenda item. Proof presidential power has limits. And Lisa Cook case matters because it's about Fed independence, about whether Trump can control monetary policy by firing governors who won't cut interest rates. Court signals are clear from oral arguments. They're protecting Fed, blocking firing, maintaining institutional independence. That means Trump cannot reshape Fed board through intimidation, cannot get rate cuts by threatening removal, cannot manipulate economy the way he wants. Another power grab rejected. Another wall collapsed. Notice how Trump's allies are responding with panic. Some trying to distance themselves, some warning about consequences, some privately acknowledging defeats are coming, and there's nothing they can do. Because legal strategies Trump relied on are failing. Claims of unlimited emergency authority rejected. Arguments about unitary executive getting pushback. Assertions of absolute removal power questioned by justices. Everything Trump's lawyers told him he could do is being blocked by courts, and clock keeps ticking toward rulings that will make defeats permanent. Think about political timing. Supreme Court deliberately pushed decisions into spring 2026, right before midterm campaign heats up, right when Trump's approval is lowest, right when defeats will do maximum political damage. That's strategic. That's court understanding its role in checking presidential overreach during period when president is vulnerable, and Trump cannot stop it, cannot threaten justices, cannot pack court with more appointees, cannot override rulings. He's trapped. Bottom line is this: Trump's legal wall collapsed with Supreme Court blocking National Guard deployment and signaling tariffs will be struck down. Federal courts ruling grant cancellations unconstitutional, judges protecting protesters from immigration enforcement, Supreme Court questioning Fed firing attempt, pattern of judicial defeats mounting, and allies panicking because clock is ticking toward multiple devastating rulings that will cripple Trump's second-term agenda. No escape because Supreme Court deliberations are proceeding, decisions are coming, and historical patterns suggest Trump will lose on tariffs, birthright citizenship, and Fed independence. 3 major constitutional defeats. 3 demonstrations that presidential power has limits. 3 rulings that will define Trump's presidency as period of executive overreach getting checked by judiciary. And timing ensures defeats hit exactly when Trump is most vulnerable politically. The walls are collapsing. National Guard deployment blocked. Clean energy grants ruling showing unconstitutional discrimination. Fed firing attempt rejected by justices. Tariff case expected to go against administration. Birthright citizenship challenge doomed. Courts systematically pushing back against Trump's constitutional violations. And allies watching this unfold have no strategy for stopping it. No way to prevent rulings from dropping. No method for avoiding political consequences. This story continues. Stay tuned, because Supreme Court could issue tariff ruling any Tuesday, could decide birthright citizenship case any month, could finalize Fed independence protections any week. Clock is ticking. Allies are panicking. Legal walls are collapsing. And Trump is cornered with no escape from judicial accountability he spent years trying to avoid. Pattern is clear. Historical precedent is documented. Supreme Court waits until president weakens, then delivers crushing defeats. And Trump is weaker now than any point in second term. Approval dropping, midterms approaching, multiple cases pending, perfect storm for systematic legal losses that will reshape his presidency. Watch for the rulings. Watch for the panic. Watch for moment when all 3 major cases go against Trump simultaneously and entire legal strategy collapses. That moment is coming, clock is ticking, and there's no escape. Stay tuned.